The last thing I shot was a video of me after the first interview that I had with the school, right? I was pretty positive and felt good about things overall. Well, next morning I wake up and I see an email from the recruiter with a contract, basically offering me a job. Yay, right? So yeah, for a second I was really happy, but then I thought to myself that, wait a second, this is happening way too fast. This is a little fishy. I don't know, I have this skepticism in me all the time, or most of the time. And I'm glad it kicked in, because I started reading the contract. I started researching information about that school in particular, and I really didn't like what I saw. The contract itself had some clauses that were so vague, and I believe they were vague on purpose. They were being vague about some very basic things that a contract should have. Things like health insurance, things like pension contributions. They were vague about the hours that the teacher, in this case me, would be working. So I declined it. And the really funny thing is, 5 minutes after I declined it, respectfully, sent that email to my recruiter. 5 minutes after that, I get another email from that same recruiter, and it was about another position. So technically, I'm supposed to have another interview tonight with another school. And this school, I got a little more excited about this one because it's teaching only elementary school students, no kindergartners. I would prefer to teach older students. That's just how I roll, I guess. It's in a place called Suwon, and that place is very historical, which I really like. There's a website called Hagwon Blacklist, and guess what? I just found this school being reviewed on this website. One teacher was fired shortly before the completion of her contract so that she lost her bonus. Another teacher was fined 400,000 Korean won for not completing paperwork. Release letters, last month's salary, or return airfare are unlikely. This recruiter is basically pushing me another school that is not the greatest. So, I mean, I get it. It's just business for the recruiter. She doesn't really care about me personally. She just wants to make a sale. She just wants me to sign the paper. But it's a big commitment, right? You're committing 1 year, one entire year of your life. So you better commit to something good that at least you think or you know is good. This is going to be my first job in TEFL, my first full-time job in TEFL. I can't expect to get this amazing contract at this amazing place, without having any prior real teaching experience or full-time teaching experience. I get it. I will have to compromise on a lot of things, but there are some things that I'm not going to compromise on, and I'm not going to sign because they're just so basic that the fact that the employer is not willing to provide them to me feels like outright fraud, really. I don't think I'm being very difficult here, to be honest, because I've done my research. I know what a contract, what the terms should be like, and I'm just asking for some basic stuff, really. For example, you and your employer, the school in this case, should be contributing at least 50-50 or splitting the cost of health insurance or the pension contributions in half, right? The other thing that is pretty known to be basic is the amount of hours. So the contract should stipulate what are the teaching hours versus what are the preparation hours or lesson planning hours. And for someone who is teaching English as a second language, from my research, it should be about 25 teaching hours, so you conducting classes in person, and the remainder of 15 hours or so should be allocated for lesson planning. So that adds up to a 40-hour week. With these hagwons, these language schools in South Korea, it may be a little different. Now, I'm looking at private schools. I'm looking at sort of these after-school academies. I'm not looking at public schools. And because those are private schools that I'm looking at, they kind of do their own thing. They kind of create their own hours. So, for example, yesterday's contract was from, I believe, 9:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. I would have to teach kindergartners, okay? From 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. I still couldn't figure out from the contract. I'd have to teach middle schoolers, or elementary school students. So all of that is to say that I need clarity. I'm not going to sign something just hoping that it's implied or assuming things, especially if it comes to some really, really basic terms. On a more positive note, there are a bunch of other things that I did this week, and specifically yesterday. I finally set up a store, an online store where I'm going to place some merchandise for my project called Lingo Junkie, which is it's kind of exciting. I'm just really experimenting with how this stuff works. But yeah, this shirt, for example, will be available on that website, on that store. So that was kind of cool. Learned how to do that. Yeah, and I just did some work for Path to College USA, the website, and for Lingo Junkie for setting up the website. Working on a website, like building a website, is actually becoming a very exciting thing for me. I'm learning a lot, and it's like I get this feeling when I'm in the middle of building a website for whether it's my language learning project or the nonprofit idea that I have. The feeling I get when I'm building the website is kind of like the feeling that people talk about when they look at real estate, when they're trying to buy a house for their family, right? So they say things like, I can envision myself here in the morning drinking some coffee or tea and reading a book or something like that. Or I could see kids playing in this room or what have you. That's kind of what's happening in my brain when I'm designing my websites. Believe it or not, it's like you are bringing a vision to life. It's finally becoming tangible, and it's a very satisfying feeling. I like that. It's 11:20 a.m. their time, 10:20 p.m. my time, and nobody has reached out to me. So they're at least 20 minutes late, that school that I'm supposed to be talking to. I'm sending an email to my recruiter. I'm saying it's Friday, 11:20 a.m. Korean Standard Time. And I was supposed to have an interview with blah, blah, blah school from blah, blah, blah at 11 a.m. Korean Standard Time. Nobody has contacted me from that school yet. I will wait for another 10 minutes, but I will have to log off afterwards due to other commitments that I have on my schedule tonight. Thank you. I hope you can understand. Eugeniu. Other commitments being going to sleep, of course. But really, no, that's just unacceptable. I I'm honestly gonna just stop working with this recruiter. Yeah. Hardcore, right? Um, but it's all part of the process. I was ready for this. I'm sure other people can probably relate who have gone through the process of trying to get a job, a good job overseas. So yeah, we'll keep chugging along.